What is up, gamers? It's me, it's your boy, your god, it's Squid, and I'm back with another unscripted disaster to buy time while I work on my channel's transition, but I don't tell you any details about it. So what are we here to talk about today? Well, I'm going to say that Mashle is a stinky, stupid manga series, and it's dumb. But we'll circle back to that, because something I want to bring up, two things actually, is that this is going to be another one of those manga videos where I think it's just going to be random anime clips. It'll probably be, in fact, it'll be topical if I put One Punch Man anime clips. So we'll do that. The clips for this are going to be One Punch Man because I always feel something morally and emotionally repulsive, repugnant, if you will, about just making a video that's a slideshow of manga, which makes talking about manga kind of annoying, but hey man, it's my channel, I do my thing. And as for the other thing I want to talk, in fact, you know what, Audible, we're going to actually talk about that at the end of the video, and when I say Audible, I'm talking about like the football term Audible, not the company Audible. Do not, I'm not a sellout. Okay, Mashle, aka One Punch Man meets Harry Potter, as I've seen it described. It's a series I've wanted to talk about for a while because it's a really confusing one for me. And what I mean by that, well, I mean that it's confusing to me. It is a parody anime, or god damn it, I'm probably going to make that mistake. I'm probably going to call Mashle an anime. I'm sorry. It is a parody manga, right? It is in the vein of One Punch Man and Mob Psycho. It is a parody shounen series. And the thing that I feel about it is that I think parody has pretty much used up its goodwill, right? Like, One Punch Man, it came out, and everyone lost their shit. One Punch Man really was like the anime of the season. Everyone loved it. Everyone was freaking out about, oh my god, I love Saitama, I love this bald boy punching shit. And it was huge. It blew up, especially here in the West. It was massive. And then we got, a while later, we got Mob Psycho. That was another parody anime, this time a lot more shonen-y, and, but it pushed it a little bit more. It was a little bit closer to an actual series than One Punch Man is. One Punch Man is just a constant parody, a constant joke. It never takes itself seriously at all. Mob Psycho actually did, and so we got it pushed a little bit further. And now Mashle. And it's taken a pretty big step back. In fact, it might have even regressed more than One Punch Man. And I don't think it's that makes it seem like it's a sequel to One Punch Man. I don't mean that. I mean, in terms of the parody, shonen parody genre, we seem to have taken a pretty massive step back with Mashle in the sense that the jokes don't really land as much. The art isn't that great. It's not bad. The art is average. I don't love the art. It doesn't do the same, doesn't have the same effect as the original One Punch Man or Mob Psycho art. It's just not as good as either of those. As for how I personally feel about it in terms of like, do I think it's bad or good? I don't really have an opinion on that. In fact, I literally have no opinion on Mashle. I don't think it's terrible, but I don't think it's good. I literally just don't think anything about Mashle. I don't ever think about it, and then I'll be scrolling through or looking at manga news or whatever and see that, oh, a new chapter of Mashle came out, and I've missed the last 3 of them, and so I'll check it out and I'll read it and I'll be like, I read that. That's something that I read. It exists. And so I wanted to make a video just to sort of put the question out there. How do people think about Mashle? I've seen people on both sides. I've seen people who are really, really into it, like suspiciously into a series that's just shitty One Punch Man. And I've seen people who like just hate Mashle, who literally hate it more than I hate, I don't know, what's an anime that I hate? Your Lie in April is pretty bad. More than I hate Your Lie in April. I think the hatred is valid because it's pretty clearly biting off One Punch Man. Like, it's trying to ride the same wave exactly as One Punch, and that's fine. And I've wanted to talk about this for a while, that I don't necessarily think ripoffs are a bad thing. The term ripoff always has a really, really, really negative connotation, and I get that, but in my head, ripoffs aren't necessarily a bad thing. And I'm going to give you an example that I was recently talking to a friend about, and that is Solo Leveling. Solo Leveling, when I first discovered it, Season 1 of Solo Leveling I think was badass. I liked it a lot. It was a fun read. Season 2, terrible. We don't need to talk about it. But Season 1, I found it, I loved it, and I read it, and it was so cool. And then the problem was, There was like no chapter. It was like 100 manhwa chapters, which is the equivalent of like 7 manga issues. And so I was fucked. You know, I read the whole thing in like a couple hours. It was super fast to read through. And then, oh shit, I don't have any soul leveling anymore. And then I discover, well, there's basically a whole genre of soul leveling. It's just constant ripoffs. And the thing is, personally, I don't view that as a bad thing because there's a limit to how much one team can put out. And I understand that because I am a functioning adult human brain, big brain, giant brain. And I think a lot of people think of ripoffs as too negative. That being said, a lot of times when I think of a good ripoff, it's something that clearly takes the exact everything from a series and then it adds something to it. So a lot of solo leveling ones, they'll add like a little something to it. There's one where it's solo leveling, but the guy has a tail that digs down into dungeons underground because everyone else goes to him in the sky and he goes underground. There's some that are Chinese ripoffs, which add that crazy Chinese spin to it. And then there are Korean ripoffs of those Chinese ripoffs of solo leveling, which are even crazier. It's basically solo leveling, but put through Google Translate 100 times. But to me, Mashle doesn't really seem to do that. So basically what I was trying to say is I think Mashle is a ripoff, and I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. I think in the case of Mashle, though, I think it is bad. I don't think it's bringing anything interesting. It's like if Black Clover and One Punch Man had a baby, I guess, but it was written by an even dumber person. Because Black Clover is trash. It's hot garbage. And One Punch Man is pretty good, but it's just, entry-level parody shit. So what does a baby between them really bring to the table? Nothing. So what I'm throwing out there is I don't want Mashle to be animated ever. And if I ever catch any of you reading it, oh boy, I'm going to be so disappointed in you. You're not going to be able to play, what do kids like? Minecraft? You're not going to be able to play Minecraft TNT run minigame for a week if I catch you reading Mashle. Anyways, that's it for this video. My next video is going to be me taking a special test. I love you and goodbye.